Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, I don't know if you recall a couple of weeks ago when I said, boy, we haven't had much, indoor agriculture news lately when, all fall and all summer, it seemed like every week there was at least, $50 million going into this stuff. It seems like they have been saving it up to drop all the news on us just this week.
I think you just have to whine a little bit and then the world of news just delivers. When you're golfing and you get a bad break, if you just whine a little bit, it's like it turns around right away. That's the case. Not only did we have an embarrassment of news riches, we had one company make incredibly big news that I don't even know which is the bigger news, that it raised 400 million in investments or it got buy-in from the biggest retailer in the United States, which is Walmart. The news about Plenty, the indoor ag company, both of those were the same day.
Right. We were like, should we post both? And I'm like, absolutely, we should post both. And it was kind of, in one of them, it was burying the lead. They're like, oh, we just raised $400 million. And by the way, Walmart. And I don't know if you recall or if our readers recall, the last time I went to South by Southwest in person, some guy who started some farm was up on a stage with a bunch of other folks talking about agriculture, and there was a whole bunch of people from the produce industry in the audience, and this guy is talking about how his farm is going to revolutionize agriculture, and that was Matt Barnard from Plenty. Fast forward, what is it, 4 years later? No, 3 years later, that had to have been 2019. And we're talking about Plenty making deals with Walmart. It's still, in the scope of things, it's Walmart's California stores. And they're talking about their Compton farm. So it's still I would call not infancy, but more like toddling years as we talk about it. It's not like Plenty and Walmart are putting vertical farms in every market in the country.
The success will be when a vertical farm or greenhouse grown lettuce or herbs are in almost everyone's refrigerator. Yeah. And they're not there, and they are investing to get there. But one of my favorite strategic ways to look at things is to ask yourself, what would be evidence of this becoming a big thing? And the evidence would be people like Walmart starting to invest. Yeah. The first step is the millions of venture capital, because they could fail. They're not the experts, but Walmart, they're the experts, and we know from their investments over the past 5 years, they're not wasting their time. They're not throwing money at stuff that they don't believe in, and they believe in these big distribution centers, robotics, automatic technology, and now it looks like they're starting to believe in indoor ag.
And we also talked about this when we framed it as when we start seeing non-niche greens. And I have all the love in the world for some of my favorite fancy greens growers, but I want to see romaine, something that is the ubiquitous lettuce, that is the hardiest of all the hardy greens. I don't really see iceberg taking off, other than the kind of like specialty baby iceberg I've seen coming from one of the indoor farms. Actually, Bright Farms sent me some of their baby iceberg, and it was superb. So that's like a fancy green still. But when we start seeing, hearts of romaine and the dollars and volume lettuce, is when I think we're going to really start taking it seriously. For example, here in Texas, I just did some stock up shopping, if you recall. I'm finally working my way through my 2 weeks of panic buying. And I found Calera Farms lettuce at HEB, and it's romaine heads. It's a little different than the field grown romaine heads. There aren't as many leaves. I'm just saying it. It's because you think about a romaine head that you get from field grown. It's a tight head of lettuce. I've been out there. They're massive. They're like this tall, and the guy like has the machete, and he's like, and it's all hand harvested for the most part there, and it grows in like 5 heads at a time, and they just like move through, and it's guys, they're moving through like a machine with their machetes and field packing those 3 packs of romaine hearts. That is lettuce at volume and scale.
Well, we have a video from Marcon showing what it looks like right in the field from John Galvez in the desert area on a desert lettuce update. So if the readers want to see kind of what it looks like in the field, click over on that one.
So to contrast that, my Calera Farms, it was delicious lettuce. I made the world's fanciest BLTs with it. I'll put a picture up because it's pretty. But they take the roots from the root ball of this hydroponically grown romaine and like tie a little knot around the lettuce. And my son was like, "What makes this lettuce so fancy?" And I held up the head and I'm like, "They tie a knot with the roots." And he's like, "Oh, wow. I mean, that's a little extra." But I mean, if we're starting to see this kind of growth, I'm just looking at the tag vertical farming from producebluebook.com, Bowery farming, $150 million, Plenty, $400 million, Walmart investing in Plenty, Upward Farms plans the largest indoor vertical farm next year. We are seeing just tremendous growth. Food Line expands hydroponic offerings with vertical roots to 300 stores. There is a lot. In Farm, $200 million to accelerate growth. It's hundreds and billions of dollars going into this in just the last couple of months. And to see bigger deals like the Walmart and Plenty deal really puts an exclamation point on it.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned with the lettuce, you'll know it's really becoming a thing when it's mainstream items, mainstream stores.
Mainstream items, mainstream stores, and it's a ton of growth. But another story that we had that was really fascinating, it was something that I picked up, doing my usual LinkedIn watching. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. I love it. I think it's really evolved over the last couple of years, but I noticed a new company pop up, and they're talking about doing farmer to family food boxes. And I was like, food box? But what is this, 2020? We haven't heard about food boxes in a while. So I sent you that link and I was like, hey, check this out. This company has decided to make its food box program permanent. What'd you find out?
Right, it's Sunterra Produce in Costa Mesa, California. And they were among the first, not among, they were in the list of the first companies that got food box contracts back in spring of 2020 when the program just started. And I connected with their president, Stephen Brazil, and he told me all about it. And it's an amazing program. You have to read the story. I mean, the gist of it is they did these food boxes through the program, and they still have a contract now in the much smaller TFAP program. But they made such amazing contacts with food banks and nonprofits, and the company really embraced it, he said. And they had grower contracts, and they're growers themselves. And he said, there's no reason for us not to continue this. And so they basically continued the program, and they pack their own. They buy basically items that are in a soft point in the market where they're right on the border of being tossed out because they're at an unprofitable level, but they have all this product. And so they're packing them, and they're using the same connections they have with the food boxes. And volume wise, he said it's 20,000 boxes a week of 2 different size boxes, a medium size and a big size, I think 12 pounds and 20-pound boxes. And it's getting good product that is not going to get thrown away this way. And it's getting it to people who need it. And any extra bit of fresh produce that gets to consumers is fantastic, because it's getting toward the biggest goal of all, which is raising consumption and getting healthier American diets.
Well, I love to see that a business really saw the value in the food box program and established its own nonprofit because they saw that there still continues to be a need. Of course, that's not surprising to anyone that there's definitely a need out there for quality food in the food stream. So to see that continue, I thought was really fascinating. So it was a really good story to read about, the whole process of the company and why they decided to do it. And then to hear from the agencies that they're working with about, the quality of the items. This isn't like gleaning. This is more number ones and things like that, that are actually really marketable and really high quality. That's great. It's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, it is. It was a fun story to do, and we'll keep an eye on how they're doing it.
Right. Well, I'm going to take one for the team this week and not watch the game. Was that your view?
That was my view. We ended up sitting club level goal line or end zone, and the game-winning kick came right through, right in front of us.
Yeah.
That whole last drive was coming at us in the fourth quarter. It was
And
something else.
I can't watch the games because I'm superstitious, because in 2020, I didn't watch any of the games and they won. And in 2021, I decided to watch the Super Bowl, and we all know how that happened. So this year I have decided that I'm not going to watch any of the games, and I think I'll be in Europe when the Super Bowl is happening this time. So maybe the luck will hold out there. That's an amazing view. I mean, come on, man.
It was nice.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't just have that as your background. It's like
the whole time.
The whole time. That's awesome. And look at how many